Hi everybody, it's me, Robert Miller, and I'm filming this actually while I'm driving between courts today. Normally I would set up the tripod and film the videos that I've been posting online under my YouTube account from the court in front of the courthouse, but today I had just finished a felony case in Pomona, had another case on calendar that's a felony in Fontana, and that was put over to 1:30, and then I have court in Orange County as well, so it's kind of a busy day. But what I wanted to talk about today was registration as a sex offender, which is probably not the most exciting topic to most people, but it's a topic of interest to some people, primarily the people that are required to register as a sex offender under Penal Code Section 290. I just finished an article last night for the website and for an articles database on registration, and that'll be coming up soon. But registration as a sex offender is sort of the scarlet letter for our generation. It's one of those things that makes people feel better knowing where sex offenders live, but doesn't necessarily have a correlative effect on reducing crime, necessarily. The big problem with sex registration is that the court and the code requires a number of offenses that used to be considered minor conduct. Urinating in public, accidental public exposure, couples having sex in a car where people might be able to see it. There's a number of acts that suddenly, when convicted, people realize that, you know what, I have to register for life as a sex offender, and I'm in a database where people can find me and see my picture. I'm on maps, iPhone apps, CD-ROMs. I'm in all the police agencies' databases, and it can really be a devastating thing for some people. It can affect their whole career, their jobs, and it can really be something that that can be very difficult to live with. There's also been in the gay community criticism. In fact, the ACLU filed a petition to the Supreme Court showing that there was discrimination against gays because some of the situations where gays would be caught in a restroom or somewhere that might be considered lewd behavior, they were being statistically singled out for selective prosecution and being required to register as a sex offender in a much higher group than the average population. So one of the questions I get as an attorney is, how do I get rid of the registration for lifetime? And the registration requirements are made so that you can't get rid of it. If you get an expungement and your record's clear, you're still required to register as a sex offender for life. And that's done on the birthday of the person. Every year they have to go into their local police agency, get the picture updated, fill out a biographical questionnaire about where they live, what they do, and they're required to do that every year. Otherwise, that is a separate crime that they can be prosecuted for. And because landlords and even other tenants will often not be comfortable with a sex offender or someone on the Megan's List website living near them, oftentimes people have to live in hotel rooms or RVs or become almost transient in some situations because of the sex offender registration. There's two ways, however, that someone can get around the sex offender registration. A third way, and probably the best thing to do, is to negotiate early on in the case to have it reduced to a different type of crime. I've been successful in having cases like lewd conduct and exposure reduced to disturbing the peace, which is still a crime, but it can be charged as an infraction, which doesn't leave a criminal record, and it also, most importantly, avoids the registration requirement. Another thing that can be done is, if a person's already pled and has been registering as a sex offender, is to get a presidential pardon. and those are difficult to get. The predecessor to our current governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, didn't grant any governor's pardon. The governor didn't grant any pardons for any state convictions for 8 years. Governor Schwarzenegger has granted around 10 so far, but they're all from the late 80s. So as you can see, it's a process that gets investigated. There's a committee that investigates that, and it takes a long time. But just like the lottery, you can't win if you don't play. And for some people, that's a good move to file the application for a governor's pardon and then wait out the process to see if their case is eventually pardoned. That would remove the Penal Code 290 sex offender registration requirement. The third way, and probably the best way to do this, is to apply for a removal from the database with the California Department of Justice. There is a form motion for that. The California Department of Justice has that on their website, and if you fill that out and show good cause, which is legalese for a good reason, for why the registration isn't appropriate in your situation, or a hardship that's occurred because of that, then the California Department of Justice can act much more quickly than the governor's office can and decide to remove Penal Code registration as a sex offender under Penal Code Section 290. So those are the ways that that can be avoided. That's a question that comes up to me every once in a while. Understandably, I have a child. People look down upon sex offenders, but they tend to lump everybody that's in the list as child molesters, and that's certainly not the case. Sometimes as a criminal defense attorney, you have to take a look at the bigger constitutional issues and see what's appropriate on a case-by-case basis and not just paint everybody with a wide brush, which is what some judges and even what some laws tend to do. So that's it for now. I will have that article up soon, and hope everybody has a great day. Take care.